It seems like forever since the last time the Seahawks missed the playoffs outside of last year, of course. The hope and expectation is that last year was an anomaly and not a trend. However, does the amount of defensive losses affect what could be the beginning of a downward spiral for Seattle? Or have the Seahawks done enough to be considered the cream of the crop in the NFC West? Let's find out as we kick off our 2018 Seattle Seahawks season preview. Let's take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the season as we go into our 4-minute offense. The Seattle Seahawks from 2012 to 2017 had the same aura and mystique around them like Mike Tyson had in the 1980s. They beat you before you even took the field. Now, a lot of those players are no longer on the roster, and there's a bit of reloading that's going on. The question is, do the Seahawks have that same mystique, or is it all a mirage right now? That'll be the biggest thing we'll find out this upcoming season, and one of the concerns heading into 2018. The Hawks would like to believe that they still strike the fear of God in their opponents and still do have some parts of that old mystique still in place to do so. We'll see if those that are new or being asked to play significant minutes now can continue to carry the torch out there in the Pacific Northwest. Another ongoing concern or issue for Seattle has been the offensive line. In my opinion, they played much better down the stretch last year, and they attacked the offseason with the mindset of continuing to strengthen the wall in front of their franchise quarterback, Russell Wilson. This group has already taken a hit in the preseason as they lost draft pick Jamarco Jones out of Ohio State to an Achilles injury, as he was expected to provide excellent depth up front at either guard or tackle. However, they did bring in DJ Fluker via free agency, who's penciled in as a starter on the right side, right next to Jermaine Ifedi, and with Ethan Posick and Justin Britt manning the middle, and veteran Dwayne Brown going into his second full season in Seattle, his first full season in Seattle after coming over in October via trade from the Houston Texans, I think it's okay to believe in the Seahawks offensive line for a change. They're in for a surprise season up front, in my opinion. One of the major stories this offseason involving Seattle has been between Earl Thomas and the team in regards to his contract and or trade demands. This would be a huge blow to the Seahawks' already retooled secondary, as Thomas is an elite player, especially at the free safety position. The hope is that some middle ground can be found and he can return to the squad by week 1, as they can't afford to lose any more cornerstone players this season. So it will be interesting to see how this situation plays out in Seattle for Thomas. The Hawks also brought in a new offensive coordinator in Brian Schottenheimer. This was welcomed by mixed reviews by many, as Schottenheimer and his offenses have been widely criticized since his days with the New York Jets. Now he's being brought in to improve on a rushing offense and ranked 23rd in the league last year, and to bring a little bit more spark to the passing game. Former offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell was let go in the offseason, and to replace him with Schottenheimer was not widely viewed as an upgrade. So just like the Thomas situation, we'll see how this thing will play out for all parties involved. A major reason for optimism for the Seattle Seahawks is quarterback Russell Wilson, and contrary to popular belief, Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback in the NFL. His passing numbers and efficiency is just as absurd as Aaron Rodgers' numbers are out there for the Green Bay Packers. As long as he's in the lineup, the Seattle Seahawks have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. Another reason for that and for overall optimism is linebacker Bobby Wagner and wide receiver Doug Baldwin. We talk about cornerstone players as elite players and difference makers, and that's what you have in these two guys. They not only can preach it, but they also live it and play like it. Both guys, in my opinion, are as dependable as they come. The defensive line, I think, is being vastly underrated right now because of some of the departures, but this group gives you a ton of optimism with Frank Clark, Jerron Reed, and Nasir Jones. 2018 draft pick Rasheem Green looks good so far in the preseason, and don't sleep on Brandon Jackson either, who stepped in last year when given the opportunity and played well. So in my opinion, there shouldn't be a drop-off in production coming from the front line of Seattle. Rookie Rashaad Penny is also a reason for optimism, especially on offense. His ability to hit the home run in conjunction with what Russell Wilson does to aid the run game will be special for this football team. Yes, he has to improve in pass pro. Yes, he will be recovering from a broken finger. All things can be true regarding the first-round pick out of San Diego State, but if you think for a second that any other back on this roster is of the same caliber of Penny, then I have a lot of oceanside property in Kansas to sell you. A cause for concern would be the Hawks secondary, with the whole Earl Thomas situation going on in conjunction with the retirement of Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman leaving via free agency, there are a lot of question marks on the back end for the first time in a long time, and will be one of the more highly scrutinized positions this upcoming season. You can also have some concern about the receiving core. Gone is Paul Richardson, gone is Jimmy Graham, and right now both Amara Darboh and Doug Baldwin are nursing some injuries. The talent is there, in my opinion. I think Darboh, if healthy, will have a breakout season. We know Tyler Lockett can play and Baldwin is a star, but can they get production out of all three at the same time is the biggest question. And what can they get out of free agent signees Jerron Brown and the veteran Brandon Marshall? And just like the secondary, this will be another highly scrutinized position this upcoming season. Now here are some quick takes as the summer rolls along for the Seattle Seahawks. Look for offensive lineman Ethan Posick and cornerback Justin Coleman to have breakout seasons. Posick has good versatility on the interior and will settle in at one, which is at guard, and thrive. Coleman is an underrated corner that has a good combination of hips, hands, and feet to be successful. Amara Darboh and Trey Flowers are guys that'll surprise this summer. I know it's hard to make that case right now for Darboh because of an injury, but once he gets out there and gets healthy, he'll become a factor. And Flowers has the flexibility and versatility to play corner or safety, and I think he'll have a role at either in the secondary and be successful. Rookie standouts will be Rashaad Penny, and despite Trey Flowers being a rookie also, that's not him in the picture. That's defensive end Rasheem Green out of USC, who is already having an impressive preseason, and I think that'll carry over to the regular season. And the number one fantasy football target on this team is Russell Wilson. Again, from a football perspective, he's no different than Aaron Rodgers, and from a fantasy perspective, he gives you value as both as a passer and also as a runner in any type of format. The road to the Super Bowl for the Seahawks goes as follows. First, the offensive line becomes a strength on offense. If they can become an asset and not a liability, Seattle will be just fine on that side of the ball. And with all of the new and moving pieces in the secondary, can they avoid a drop-off and still carry that same mystique of the Legion of Boom? And in conjunction with the offensive line becoming an asset, if the running game can become beast mode-like, then the Seahawks will be right back in the hunt for the Super Bowl with a very strong chance to get there in February. I have the Hawks finishing second in the NFC West. The new pieces being added is what essentially keeps them out of first place in the division, in my opinion. However, I don't think this team will be as bad as many seem to believe. They still have Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, Bobby Wagner, and head coach Pete Carroll. I believe they'll be just fine. How fine will be determined if some of the questions that we outlined in this video get answered pretty early. So that's it for our 2018 NFL season team preview. Be sure to follow me on all of our social media accounts. Also check out and subscribe on iTunes to Football Gameplan Podcast, and to find other NFL team previews for our 2018 NFL season kickoff, visit the YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan and click that subscribe button.